Hello and welcome to episode 13 of ArenaFPS News, brought to you by your hosts Galanguar and Neepal. Now before we roll full speed into the news this week, I have a couple of announcements. One which is an apology that I spammed everybody's inboxes with a video that should have been one video, but due to how Twitch was completely incompetent in exporting it as one 2-hour video, it had to export it into 10 15-minute videos. And a second piece of news, which is equally if not more important, is I've been dueling Neepal now for how long? About 2 or 3 months?
Yeah,
and
probably.
He's beaten me on every occasion in Quake Live and in Reflex, and last night, for the first time, I took a map off him in Quake Live. I was ecstatic, I was over the moon, and then 2 more in Reflex, and none of you are going to care about this, but to me it's important. So
I didn't realise you were going to publicly humiliate me.
What? It's not really publicly humiliating saying that you got beaten 50
down.
times in a row. You're never going to live that down that you got beaten by me.
No.
Such a bastard. But in more important news, there's been a patch for Toxikk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Patch number 4.
And version 0.8 Basil build. Now, this introduces a new weapon, which is surprisingly like the Gauntlet from Quake 3. Or Quake Live, which is surprising because otherwise the weapons in that game are more Unreal Tournament focused. What do you think?
Have you given it a whirl?
Yeah, it's not properly implemented yet because the developer who was behind it unfortunately had to go to hospital with a hang on a minute, let me just read it out. A herniated disc, so hopefully he's going to get better soon. Because obviously we need the weapon being properly implemented.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the reason. Not that, yeah. Hope you get better soon, Mr. Developer, because I know you're listening to this. But apart from that, they added a new map called Artifact. Have you had a look at it?
Yeah, aesthetically it looks sexy as fuck.
Yeah.
I haven't played it. I need to catch up on Toxikk. I've been lagging.
Yeah, lacking. It's alright. It's very vertical. There's like quite a few different like levels of layers, and I've not really played it with. Like, I played it once with bots and then a very brief game with players, and I think you have to play a map for like at least a couple of hours to really get your teeth into it.
Yeah, I like the whole Mayan Aztec-y sort of theme.
Yeah, definitely.
No idea how it plays.
It's very different to like the other ones. Like, they seem to have a really good like, what's the word, variation on level designs. Like, one's in the snow, the Twin Peaks, and then there's the kind of the Chinatown one, which I think is called District. So
it should be called Chinatown.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, 6 suggestion there.
But apart from that, there's a few balance changes. There's been a few kind of like what's the word? Optimizations to make the game run a bit better.
Okay, people will like that.
Yeah, and a few weapon balances. So, I mean, the game's coming on soon, and some hot gossip. I was speaking to the developer through an ArenaFPS on Reddit post because he was looking for some feedback, and the next patch is going to have 2 more maps and dual mode, so you can get your hands excited for that.
Get your hands excited.
I don't know, I started that sentence and I didn't know where it was going, so I just carried on.
Dual mode's nice, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm more of a dual player. I didn't used to be, but ever since this kind of thrashing from Neepals come about, I'm more excited about dual.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Wickland, which is a game which you know very well.
Well, yeah, I've got it fixed for anyone who knew I had it broken. Jenks fixed it for me, who's like the Wickland king.
He is. What a guy. What a guy.
So I'm finally back on playing that, and they've did a patch. What's the date today?
1.1.1. It came out on the 5th of March.
Yeah,
which
so
is
6 days ago.
Yeah, just after we recorded the last video. They seem to patch always just after we record the video, which is slightly infuriating. If you could kind of fix your patching cycles, guys, to like suit our video releases, that would be great.
It's only a little one. They did a HUD size option. Some people like the small HUD, some people like the large HUD. Same for crosshair sizes.
Yeah, it's a good patch, and it's good they're keeping on patching out, not making things improve over time. It looks like they've really dedicated to improving this game, rather than just like letting it kind of leaving it how it was when they released it.
Yeah, I went on the forums now that I'm actually playing it again, and I did my typical trying to bug them into putting a team mode in there. Not like a ranked, really important team mode, but just something that's going to get people on the servers, because with it being a duel only game, it's quite intimidating and daunting. And they said they want to turn ArenaFPS people who aren't duel players into duel players, or turn regular gamers into duel players. But I don't think they can do that only offering a duel game, because if you're not a duel player, you're not going to buy the game in the first place.
Yeah,
so I thought they could implement like a CA mode that's just a bit of a, like on some sort of casual servers, it doesn't rank you or anything, but it just lets you play CA.
Yeah.
And then
or
the
possibly
actual
even
servers.
Something like duel, but maybe with like 1 or 2 more weapon spawns, and have it like a 2v2 mode.
Yeah, that's what we initially suggested to them, but they sort of put their foot down after everyone had been bugging them about it.
Oh,
so I hope they do something like that, but who knows.
Next up, we have
Terminal Overload.
Terminal Overload. That's the game.
So they're on 0.7 now. So that's eerily close to 1.0. For those of you who aren't good at maths, that's 0.3 away.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we are on the ball tonight. But yeah, some good changes. I don't know this game very well, I'll be honest.
It's mostly balancing stuff, it looks like, and some little additions. Nothing massive like the last one, which seemed to implement a whole new game mode and weapons and stuff.
It's definitely a game when they get to like release phase, or definitely you can put some hours into it and explore it a little bit more. But at the moment,
and it's free. It's on Linux. It's on Windows, and you can download the source for it as well. So
yeah, definitely check it out.
It's about as open as it gets.
Yeah. So that kind of wraps up our patch news. Let's have a look at the amazing Reborn Show 5. So
this was a good one.
This was an interesting one, because it sounded like at the beginning that it was going to be like a 5-minute episode, which turned into like an hour and 10-minute episode because people got James talking and he just rambled on. Initially it looked like there wasn't going to be a client released, but there has been. There's a client available for you to download. The link will be in the video. Have you installed it and had a look?
Yeah, it's you're not going to be interested in anything to do with a client yet unless you're doing mapping.
So I think he described it as like an enthusiast, like a developer enthusiast client. Because I think you can make like materials.
You can make like custom blocks and stuff and import them into the game.
Import them into the game and like make levels with them. And I think one thing that Reflex has also done very well is releasing mapping tools very early into development, because if you've got a small team, you can't produce a lot of maps. And one thing to bring players in is releasing a lot of maps. UT's also done this as well. They've had like community members make a lot of maps. So I think it's a really clever way to go.
Yeah, but gameplay-wise, nothing's changed. No. If you want to know about Reborn gameplay, he spoke about it a lot in this amazing Reborn show, this number 5, but it's not in the alpha yet. He said he's going to have a meeting with Fox and Faz soon, week. I think. Yeah, and then I think implementing gameplay is the next step. So
yeah, and they're still kind of on track for a development for a Kickstarter in May and then a tournament in November. So it sounds like if they're going to have a tournament in November, they're going to have gameplay in a playable state quite soon, I'd imagine. Otherwise, I mean, you can't do a tournament with a bunch of players that have never played a game before.
Yeah, I was spamming the chat when he looked like he was going to end this show, just saying, "Can you talk about classes?"
Yeah,
or gameplay or something, and he actually did.
Yeah,
because I've been wanting to hear about gameplay for 4 episodes now, and we haven't really heard anything. But he went into it, and it sounds complicated, but like he's gonna dial it back. He's gonna sort of chuck everything in and then strip things away until he's got something right. But basically, there's going to be backpacks for your robots, and then classes for your robots, and grenades for your robots as well. So
and defensive abilities as well, which are kind of another thing, and unique melee attacks.
Yeah, so there's going to be like a heavy loadout sort of aspect to it.
Yeah.
But what I think he's going for is not like Tribes Ascend. I think he's going for more like Dota, in that everyone will have access to every class and backpack and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like a tactical decision about how you structure your robot before a fight.
Yeah. It was important to add that he's also planning to do a kind of vanilla mode without all the classes and the grenades and all that kind of stuff, where it's just like basically Quake 3 gameplay.
Yeah, I think because he's offering a platform, I think he's basically just saying that if you want that, that's possible to create.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Bloodline Champions, actually, which is a game that he worked on, funnily enough, where you kind of pick a champion, and it has like different abilities, and then it's kind of like an arena game, a little bit like WoW Arena. I can't say arena. A bit like WoW Arena, where it's kind of like a team versus a team, and kind of you've got a class to play with. It sounds a little bit like that.
Yeah, I haven't played that. I have no idea what that's like.
Imagine like Dota, but without like the lane stuff, and without the level stuff, and without the item stuff.
Alright, I can go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the tribe system, so I just don't like the fact that some things are locked by level and things like that.
Yeah. The artwork on the Eggbot variants has come along quite nicely. I'm really enjoying them. I know some people think they're gimmicky and rubbish, but personally I really like the character that they bring to the game.
Yeah, CubeBot is my new favourite now, I've decided.
Yeah.
I liked Eggbot, and then they brought out Trashbot, and I like Trashbot, and now they brought out CubeBot, and I like CubeBot.
I want a Total Biscuit Bot. That sounds hilarious. Little Top Hat Bot.
He showed some music as well.
Yeah.
What else? He showed a little bit more concept art, and the minigun is still my favourite looking weapon. I think that's pretty damn cool.
The minigun's cool. The rocket launcher, I think, could maybe do a bit of work. I'm not entirely sure what. I think the rocket launcher, like, maybe just tank string. I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't look. It looks a bit nothing, a bit bland.
Yeah.
And I don't really like the pistons on the side.
No. They could go from like all I care, but I mean, a lot of it's coming on slowly, but there's a lot of things coming on at the same time. Like, I get the impression when they release it, it'll be kind of more of a full product rather than like the way Reflex is doing it. They released one weapon model and the game. They're probably going to release kind of like all the weapon models at the same time as a game, at the same time as music, at the same time as like maps and stuff. So
yeah, and he definitely seems to have kicked up a notch since the new year started.
Yeah, definitely. There was very little going on from about last June, I think, till like November, December last year. So that was the first time. But when did we first hear about it? Was it December or January?
What about Reborn?
Kind of the Reborn re-ignition.
The rebirth of Reborn.
The rebirth of Reborn.
Lord knows, but it's only in the last couple of months he seems to. Well, maybe he's done fucking loads.
Yeah.
He's not exactly. He's only just started being open about what's going on. So.
Yeah. Next up is FOVgate.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit, off-piste. I like that phrase, off-piste for our channel. But I think it kind of comes into ArenaFPS games in terms of field of view is very important, and Blizzard's upcoming game Overwatch has a locked field of view, which has basically made the internets go nuts. I would like to hear your opinions on it before I natter on.
Yeah, so basically they've locked an FOV, and the reason they locked it was because some people might not know that you can change your FOV in the options.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous, because it's like changing your sensitivity. It's one of the first things lots of people do when they get in the game. I know some casual players don't do it, but the casual players that don't do it aren't going to get. If they're going to get trashed by a player, it's not because they have a better FOV.
Yeah. Blizzard's a funny company because they do some things like they only have 9 deck slots in Hearthstone because they think adding more would make the game too complicated. But at the same time, the WoW UI system was very, very in-depth and allowed you to have almost infinite kind of possibilities. So they're kind of a little bit all over the place in terms of what they want to offer to players. But with this, bizarre. I don't get
it's
why.
It's got to be 92 to standard, and the guns in that game, at least on some of the characters, are huge.
Yeah.
Taking up like 40% of the screen anyway, and you can't change. Like, if I was playing, I'd at least put it to 120, 130.
Yeah. I think all my games are around 100 to 105 at the moment, and that feels comfortable for me. I don't know. I mean, this game is going to be popular no matter what, but I think they've lost a lot of good faith that the community might have had beforehand. Once they've announced this kind of, not change, but this kind of like paradigm they're going to go with. And they've never made an FPS game before, so like it's very possible they just completely like fuck it up, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like they're harming everyone's gameplay just for the sake of a few casuals.
Yeah.
It helps people adjust to the game to be able to change their FOV and their sensitivity and their binds and all that stuff. It's like the first thing people do.
Yeah, exactly. And they could even do like a newbie kind of introduction, like you play 5 games where you don't have access to your settings.
Yeah, I think.
And then after that, it unlocks them.
I think Sakaide, who does Project Freefall, I think I read somewhere. It might not be him. He might be listening to this, thinking, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But said something about having a tutorial with the options built in or something. So an FOV bar is like part of the introduction to the game.
Oh, really?
So it's like
Okay, that's
something
really
everyone
good
knows
idea.
exists and everyone has done, so no one's got an unfair advantage. But it's not even that much of an advantage. I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah.
It's not like everything you can do in Quake, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think options are a very important part of Arena FPS games, because, well, just games in general, but especially in Arena FPS games where, like, PickMip, did I say that right?
Yeah.
PickMip is like...
Oh, no.
Yeah. How do you say it?
PickMip.
PickMip. I'm just going to forget I even attempted to say that. But that thing that you'll know what I mean is, like, quite important to competitive play, and unless you don't know about that, like, you're gonna suffer a little bit. You won't be able to. It makes picking up targets much easier. So I think putting those in the game is more important than making them part of a tutorial, making them really obvious is more important or better for the game overall than just removing them completely.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. But
No.
you know,
They
like
might
I said,
backtrack.
it's Blizzard doing it. It's going to be a popular game. People will overlook stuff like this.
And they do massive 360s, like the auction house for Diablo 3, and yeah, they do things like crazy, Blizzard.
Yeah, I can actually see them implementing it after this uproar.
Yeah. Bosskey has a pre-release alpha trailer of some very pretty cinematics, to be fair to them. But again, it's kind of not much. It's not gameplay. It's not really. There's no more information that's been really released. It's just kind of really pretty graphics and some armor and a weapon.
Yeah, they like to talk an awful lot, but they don't like to talk about anything, really.
And I think it's actually starting to have like a negative effect on the community. Like every time I see BlueStreak mentioned, I see a lot of kind of, oh, it's this company that, you know, they're just like creating fluff content. And it might be an amazing game, but I think fostering a community to kind of like your game is pretty important these days.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends where you're looking at the community, because a lot of places I see quite hardcore Cliffy B fans who are like really pumped about it. And,
Yeah.
But then you go on the Arena FPS subreddit and then everyone's very pissed. And I think rightfully so, just because they just do so much and they talk about so little of actual substance. It's just teaser after teaser after teaser.
Yeah. But, I don't know, it might turn out well. I've got it showing now, so you can see what you think yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it looked nice, but
it looks nice, but
doesn't tell me much.
Not much to say. So let's move on to tournaments, shall we?
Yep.
So there was a little tournament called the Reflex Garbage Cup, which was organised by a guy called Bully from America, and casted by our fine channel here, ArenaFPS, along with our very good friend Greth. It was a lot of fun. There was some kind of complete washouts because the term garbage is very subjective.
Is it because it was supposed to be a newbie cup?
It was meant to be a newbie cup, and a couple of people entered thinking they were, like, to be fair to them, they probably thought they weren't great, but actually compared to the people they were playing, they were miles ahead. So much so that one person actually just stopped playing halfway through his round because he was getting so badly beaten. But there was some really funny moments, some really great gameplay in some aspects. There was a really good duel between Smegmatic and I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head, but I'll edit it in afterwards.
Did you say Smegmatic?
Yeah, Smegmatic was one of the players.
Double check that.
That's how I remembered his name, because it was just brilliant.
There was that video that guy made about his duel against Bully.
Yeah, NCLA. I think he's a Counter-Strike player, and I don't think he's ever played ArenaFPS games before, and it was just, you should watch this video. I'll link it.
It was pretty funny. He had like no health, and he's just like avoiding armors like the plague.
It was great, and I think he actually went to win the series in the end.
Spoilers.
Right, it's the first series. It's round robin, so there wasn't an overall winner, but the VODs are up. We're going to be doing it again this Saturday. I think it starts at 10 PM UK time, so your regional equivalent, and it's a beginner's cup. It's not high skill level, but we're going to try and have a good fun, like with the casting, try and be entertaining and show off some fun Reflex gameplay.
Yeah, more beginners cups.
Yeah, I like beginners cups. On the slightly more hardcore side of things, we have the Z Live guys doing the Reflex Australia Cup. Well, they did the Reflex Australia Cup last Saturday again. It kind of started when we finished. Did you watch any of this?
No, but I'm looking at the brackets now, and I only recognise maybe 3 names there.
Yeah, Shpood and Gerard was casting it, and they said themselves that they didn't really know many of the players because of the Australian scene's kind of quite separate, and I assume that's because of pings mostly.
Yeah.
But there was some. I watched the last couple of rounds, and the gameplay was really solid. Q Hat won the final. I'm just going to spoilers because spoilers. In quite formidable fashion actually. It's worth watching, even though you know who won, I assume.
I noticed that Newborn played in round 1, and I've seen his stream where he duels Shooter, who's the what's it called, the dev, and they're really, I think I'm pretty sure they're better than us.
Yeah, Newborn's.
But they must be. Yeah, they're actual CPMA players.
Yeah, Newborn's one of the devs, right?
Yeah, and he went out first round against Profanums.
Yeah.
2-0, so it must have been a pretty high skill cup.
Yeah, Profanums he came second after Q Hat, so Profanums went straight to the finals. Yeah, it was a really good series. I enjoyed watching it. The casting was great. The Z Live guys are brilliant. They really know what they're doing. Worth checking out in the VODs, which we shall link. And finally, Wickland is getting a sponsored cup, nonetheless, by the company Madcatz, which do gaming peripherals. First place is keyboard, second place is a mouse, and third place you get a headset. Starts on March 21st. You can sign up on this link that I have on screen right now. Do you have any thoughts about this? I'm quite happy to just see another Reflex Cup, to be honest.
You mean Wickland?
Yeah, I always get words and names aren't my speciality. Another Wickland Cup.
I'm really happy to see it as well, because oh shit, who did the last one?
Wasn't it Gerard? Well, he was casting it, wasn't he?
Yeah, Gerard did the stream. I can't remember who did the last one, and it was a good cup, and there was some bigger names in there because it was the first Wickland Cup. I guess people wanted to see what it was all about, but I think the game needs more cups. It needs more exposure.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I can get my ping to be a bit even, I might enter this one as well, just because I'm actually back on playing it. It looks like a lot of fun.
Do you know who's casting this?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe Madcatz are doing their own thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's good to see a sponsored cup as well. All the kind of self-organised ones are great, but getting kind of sponsors in there, even in the small ones, is good to hear.
Yeah, so who's in there? Video's in there. He's a Wickland player. Jenks, Darks Jack. Jenks and Darks Jack, I know were both in the last tournament. Jenks, of course, is devastatingly good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, check it out on March 21st. It's an open tournament, right? Anyone can join.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in some Wickland action, then go for it. So I think that pretty much wraps up the news for the week, unless there's anything that I've missed and you're going to chastise me for.
No, we'll probably both find it as soon as we start recording.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. I've been Galangua, and this has been Mr.
Neeple.
Mr. Neeple. Good to have him back full time now. And we've got some exciting new changes for the channel coming up. More content. We've got the Reflex Garbage Cup, which we're going to be casting on Saturday, and hopefully a podcast on Sunday. So you've got more to look forward to by ArenaFPS.
Bye, guys.
Bye.